Hello everybody and welcome back to Extra Holiday Games. I'm Extra Holiday and I pulled up my Christmas list to look because I had thought that I'd gotten everything on my list, but I actually didn't. It's interesting. There's things on here that I did get, like I asked for a belt because I've lost weight recently and I don't really own any belts, so my pants have just kind of been falling down at work. So I figured I kind of needed to fix that problem. So I asked for a belt, and I got that. I mentioned the HDMI cables. I got that. And then also a longer S-video cable, which will allow me to record old games with this setup. Technically, I could have before, but it would have been really awkward. But now I can do it more comfortably. And I have all my old systems set up too now. The only thing that hasn't been set up as far as the old systems is the capture card. So, that's what I needed the long cable for. So, yep, got that. That was thanks to my parents. Ruby Volume 8. Brandon got me that, which is neat. And then, whoop, hold on. Just gotta pay a little bit of attention to this here. What? Okay. What kills me next? Whoa. Okay. Good. Oh, okay. Might have to hang in the air a little bit longer there. Oh, and an electric razor because I lost mine? Yeah, I lost my razor, so I put that on the list because I do kind of plan on going a little bit more clean shaven in the future. One thing on my list that I didn't get, that I'm not too terribly surprised that I didn't get, but one thing I didn't get was Konosuba on Blu-ray. I was asking for both the first and second season because they are both available on Blu-ray. I didn't get that because I guess my parents didn't. What my mom said is that she had no idea what she was looking for there. So instead, she got me. I think I mentioned this on stream. She got me Nausicaa, the Ghibli movie. I died, which is. I'll take. You know, I was interested in that movie. I haven't seen it, so you know this is a good excuse to see it, to watch it. And then the last thing I had on my Christmas list was a shelving unit, because currently, right? Y'all know I moved into my aunt's like a few months ago, and theoretically that would give me enough time to sort everything out. And, I mean, more or less, we're in a decent position. Like, things are pretty much set up. The one thing that's been bugging me, I don't know if it's been bugging my aunt and uncle, but it's been bugging me, for sure. Whoops. I was switching screens on my phone, it's fine. One thing that has been bugging me is that currently all my games, well, the majority of my games, I died again there. Great. The majority of my games are in just this clear tub, the same clear tub that I moved them here in, and they're just kind of sitting in this tub. And it's a little awkward. I can't really get to some of my games easily because, you know, they're stacked on top of each other, basically. Should have jumped. They're stacked on top of each other, so I can't get to them easily, and it looks a little tacky just having these tubs sitting in the corner. And there's other stuff I have in the tubs too, like controllers and stuff. Most of what's left in that corner is just gaming stuff that I haven't found a spot for, and then I don't really have a spot for. So I asked for shelves for Christmas so that I could Because there is space for that sort of thing. But I don't really have... It's vertical space, basically. It's vertical space more than it is horizontal space. So I need some sort of thing to hold that. Hold all that in a vertical way. So that it's not just a couple of tubs taking up space in a corner. And I did get that. Well, I am getting that, I should say. Ultimately, my parents decided they had a shelving unit that they didn't need. They're like, hey, we'll give you this. I am slightly concerned that it might be too deep because the corner that it's meant to go in is next to a shuffleboard table. Because this downstairs area is kind of like a lounge type area. It's got big old TV. It's got a pool table. It's very cool, actually. Honestly, if I had my own place, I would probably want a room like this too. Yeah, it's the little corner in which the tubs currently are in has a shuffleboard table next to it, and I think actually. I guess the shelf isn't any deeper than the tubs are, so it should be fine. But I don't know, I just want to make sure, because that's the one thing, when she saw it on my list, that's the one thing my aunt said, is like, oh, well, we need at least enough room to play shuffleboard, because they do that sometimes. You know, they have friends over and they play games and stuff. It's neat. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure there's enough room for that so that my stuff isn't getting in the way of their activities. Because that is one of the biggest things for me about essentially living in someone's house. Yes, I pay rent, but I don't. It's really generous. Like my aunt's really generous about the rent. Because of course we're family, and that's the sort of thing, I guess. I'm not saying this is what I expect of family, but that's the sort of thing, I guess, that family does for each other. Is, you know, they give them a break on rent. Understandable, I guess. So, well, where was I going? Yeah, so because I'm living with them and they're being so kind as to let me live in their house for basically a steal of rent, I want to be as little of an imposition as possible. You know, I want to get in the way as little as possible. Because, you know, it's one thing to be relying on your family to house you, but it's another thing to take that for granted. And I don't want to take that for granted because, you know, there's a chance where then there are circumstances under which that might not be a thing, right? In my mind, there's truly a way that I could mess things up to where I would essentially need to live somewhere else because, you know, I've just done so poorly in effectively being a roommate that they end up kicking me out. Because hell, my name's not on the deed to this place, so... Heck, I haven't even changed my address for most things to this place, so... And granted, I'm sure if I got kicked out of here and went back to my parents, they'd probably take me back, but... I don't want to have to do that, right? Moving here was kind of meant to be a step forward, and going back to my parents after that would also be a really long commute for me if I kept my current job. It's like an hour each way, and that's not great. Maybe an hour and a half. So, yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that. So I try to be essentially as good a roommate as possible and be in the way as little as possible, you know? I think, frankly, that's just what I think I owe to them. And I'd like to think we're in a situation actually living with friends, you know, or just any other type of roommate that I would be the same way, where I'm like, all right, I need to make sure that that we're on good terms, because it wouldn't be as big a deal, I guess, if I were rooming with friends and everyone was paying their equal share. But there's still this idea of, well, say my friends get tired of living with me, then what do? I have to find new roommates, and that would be a pain in the ass. I haven't even found friends to room with yet. So, of course, it would be kind of difficult to do again. You know, I just try not to take things for granted, you know. Particularly when it comes to help from others. You know, even if it's a more mutual thing, right? It doesn't always have to be. There's no law saying that someone has to help me or has to cooperate with me in that way. Right? The joke I like to say in my head a lot is, if there's any country where it is perfectly legal to be an asshole, it's America. So, yeah. I can't take that sort of thing for granted, you know. And again, I say that as a joke because, of course, America's not the only place where that sort of thing applies, right? Where what I'm talking about applies. But it is a notable example. Okay. All right. Focusing here. Okay. I needed to land closer to the saw blade and then run a little bit to the side. Yeah, I don't like to be a burden. That's the big thing. But someday I'll be able to provide for myself. I mean, technically I can now, but I'd effectively be living in poverty if I were to try to live by myself right now. So I'm not really rushing to do that just yet. Not until I start making a bit more. And that's the thing, is even if I start making money from this, you know, this channel and streaming and stuff, if I start making money from this, then I still have to wait to a point where I would still want to wait till a point. Dog's barking. I would still want to wait till a point where I'm making more from this than I was making from my day job, right? Where this by itself was enough to, and maybe this is the wrong move, but I would want to wait till this by itself was enough to provide for me more so than my current day job does. It's funny I call it my day job because I work graveyard shifts, but whatever. Yeah, and you know, that's probably, now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably not the right way to do it. Probably the right way is like, I'll say if you make 50K from your normal job and then you're making 10K a year. I'm talking yearly numbers here. You make 10K from your YouTube and stuff, then you should use them both to move out, and right, because it's not like I'm gonna quit my job as soon as I start making money from this, right? Because this isn't going to start providing for me right away. Or even when it does start, it's not going to start doing so in full right away. So, yeah, ultimately, I think probably the smartest idea is to be like, oh yeah, so start using some of that money from content creation to get yourself out of your current living situation. Because while it's not terrible, right? I won't say it's terrible. It's still not ideal. Should have twirled there. But hey, you know what? Maybe it'll be ideal next time. Because, as for this episode, that's a wrap. What are they barking at 6 in the morning?